Hey, everybody. We are back. And today I actually have one of my favorites. Oh, look, I'm actually pointing in the right direction. For the ones listening in, I'm pointing on YouTube in the right direction. For some of you that have been around, you know Jenn Herman. For some of you, you might not have seen her around my profile yet. She's one of my besties. She's actually one of the reasons why I ended up in San Diego. You were the first one to make me feel home when I came visit San Diego. I still remember like yesterday. Rooftop,
I do too.
moving the menu out of the way, moving the silverware out of the way, taking pictures of all the food we had. And I was like, yeah, I feel like home. For everybody that doesn't know Jenn, so Jenn Herman is a social media consultant, speaker, and global recognized. I lost my thought. There it is. Instagram expert. What else? You are the queen of Instagram. I should know that without having to read the bio. She's also sought after an international speaker providing tips, resources, and training for organizations of all sizes that need to structure their social media strategies. Did somebody say structure? This is where we get along. Your business background includes administration, sales, human resources, and marketing, and you enjoy bringing all the skills together to help your clients and your audience grow their business. Jenn has been featured in Inc., Fox News, BBC News, Yahoo Finance, Entrepreneur, HuffPost, The Verge, CBS Radio LA, and quite a few other podcasts and publications. Yeah, you also authored Instagram for Dummies, Instagram for Business Dummies, and The Ultimate Guide to Social Media Marketing. That's a mouthful.
I've done a couple things. It's fine.
Just a few. And why I also wanted to bring you on, I'm like, yes, this is Boss Your Business, but you were in that unique situation. First of all, you are a mom, you are a single mom, you have a full-time job, and you have a full-time business.
Yeah.
So if somebody knows busy moms, it's you.
I might know a thing or two. I might have lost an hour of sleep here or there in my lifetime. Yes.
Just a few. And on top of things, we both are immigrants. So it's like it never gets boring with us. Tell me, how did you actually end up ending with Instagram? How did you get here?
I always love this question because people are like, what made you choose Instagram? I'm like, I didn't. It kind of chose me. And it wasn't something like I didn't wake up one day and be like, I'm going to be an Instagram expert. Like, ooh, I really like this and I'm going to do this. It was totally not my intention. It was, it's been 9.5 years now since I started my blog. Like, I know it feels like, literally we're coming up on 10 years. It's crazy. And I started my blog and it was social media trends. It was talking about all different things that happen in social media. And at the time, Instagram was around, but it was still very new. It was still, photos.
Now I'm learning something new. I didn't even know that Jenn's trends used to be social media trends.
Yeah, it was Jenn's trends in social media. That was the whole thing.
I never knew that. Learned something new too.
There you go. But that was the thing. It was meant, and I blogged about, Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I should embrace this whole Instagram thing. Like, I'm going to have a blog on trends. I should embrace Instagram. And so I fell in love with it as an app. Like, as a user, I loved Instagram. I loved the photography. I loved the community. I loved the interaction. Like, there was everything about it that I loved. So then I was like, well, how do you use this for business? And I had my blog. My blog was about 6 months old. I had met a few people back in the day, like the Mia Voss and Dustin Stout and Mike Altons of the world, who had big Google Plus audiences.
The Google Plus days. That's when we went into each other the first time. That's how I met Mike too.
It was all Google Plus. I know, we go so far back.
Oh my God.
And so it was one of those things where I was like, I started trying to research how to use Instagram for business. And there was nothing out there. There was nothing of quality. And so I was like, well, screw it. I have this little tiny blog. And I started testing and I started doing case studies. And I started, like, again, I'm very strategic. Like, if you show me something, I can tell you how to apply it. And so I started being like, well, try this. And I can't take credit because there's no proof, but I'm pretty sure the whole click the link in the bio, there is no documented evidence of someone saying that before my blog that I am aware of. So if anyone has evidence to the contrary, please feel free to, take me off my high horse. But I started teaching business tactics on Instagram using my
Mhm.
blog. And within 6 months, I was ranking #1 on Google across the board because I was the only person. I wrote one blog post a week, every week, dedicated to Instagram. And it just built this, this trust on the website that started ranking on Google. I started getting podcast invites. I started getting speaking invites. And I was like, oh, okay, here we are. It wasn't the intention at all. It was just, I wanted to blog and I wanted to share. And so after about like a solid year, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is a thing. This is not a trend. This is not a fad. This is where I'm going. And I went all in, and I've stopped blogging pretty much at all. I blog very little compared to what I've ever done before, but now it's very focused obviously on Instagram. When I do blog, when I speak, when I go anywhere, I would say 90% of my content is now Instagram related. But yeah, it was just an evolution through time.
And the fun thing is, it's like, no matter if I just talk with people or here on the podcast, the ones that are successful seem to be following what I call the yellow brick road. It's
Yeah.
like we just pay attention to what's happening, where is it leading us, and that's what we roll with.
Yeah. That's the
Um,
thing. This was not, like I said, I did not wake up and be like, I'm going to be an Instagram expert. This is like, I have a master's in forensic science. Like, this was like, my life plan was not to teach Instagram marketing. Like, this is
but
not
that
where I was planning to end up. But I love my life. I love the people that I've met because of it. I
Mhm.
love the things I get to do because of it. And I think it is something where, for a lot of women, especially, but people in general, we get so shoehorned into, well, this was what I went to school for, and this is what I'm expected to do,
Oh
and this is
God.
the career I chose, and this is what I have to continue, and I fail if I walk away. And I was like to your point, the yellow brick road. I was like, but the road's going this way, and okay, well, we'll go that way. Whatever happens, happens. And someday Instagram will die, and someday it won't be relevant, and I'll have moved into a different avenue of my business, and whether that's business mentorship or still social media, different platform, who knows? But at this point, the road's been really fun, so I'm just along for the ride.
So it sounds like you yourself, before we are diving into the whole how people can use Instagram to actually help their businesses. Sounds like for you, it is kind of like the speaking, education, consulting kind of thing that you were doing in this case in your business.
Yeah, and it really did. Like, that's like the early stages, it was focused on speaking. And you mentioned at the top of the show, like, I still have a full-time job. I've been at my day job for 12, 13, however many decades I've been there, it feels like, but it's been over 13 years I've been at the day job. So I've been doing this the whole time while having that full-time job. And so when I started doing Jenn's Trends and building a business model, I didn't need the quote revenue. I had a job that
Mhm.
paid the bills. And I went hard on the speaking aspect because it allowed me to be able to do the pro bono events. It allowed me to be able to build up the repertoire through, podcast interviews and everything else. And that was what I built the business as, was educating, speaking, and, that kind of, the webinars and all that sort of stuff. And then with that, I started going into the consulting. So I started the revenue generating process almost in reverse of what most people do. They want to make the money, they got to build the business, and then they're like, oh, well, now that I'm making money, let me go be a speaker.
Hmm.
I kind of did the backwards option because I had that luxury. But yeah, then I moved into the consulting, and I love that. I love my clients, and I do very limited one-on-one consulting, and I'm very picky about the clients I take on. But it's fun, and I get to do really good, fun things with my clients when we take on that to, dive deep into, auditing their Instagram accounts, looking at their strategy, looking, what we can do to reach those goals that they've set, and commit to working with those clients rather than just, taking on 20 clients for the sake of it and just cranking out work because I can.
Yeah, I'm like, we both agree on that one, where it's like we shouldn't take on clients just to take on clients.
Yeah.
And I love how you mentioned how you approached your side hustle initially, because when I talk with a lot of people and they want to start a business, I often run into this issue of, you are looking at building a full-time business, but you don't have the luxury yet to put full-time into that business because you have a
Yep.
full-time job. And I'm often like, you're not going to make it a full-time business till you are in that pressure point of it having to be a full-time business. I love how you approached it, and you went for the speaking stuff, for everything that full-time businesses always hope for, but we need to make money first kind of thing. And you established yourself. So I'm like, ooh, this might actually be a really, really good approach for everybody that does start with the side hustle.
Yeah.
Get your stuff down, get yourself established publicly, be really, really tight on who you work with.
Yeah.
And then having that public recognition, knowing that you easily can bring in clients, will make it easier to turn it into a full-time
And
gig.
that's the thing. When you're standing on a stage, you've proven your credibility. People
Yep.
want to work with you. You work less hard to get clients when you've got that trust factor built in because you've spoken on these stages or on these podcasts that people recognize your expertise. And with that, though, like there has to be an understanding of commitment. And this was something that I struggled with a bit with my ex-husband, because at the time I was married when I started Jenn's Trends. And, you know, he's like, you're giving up your evenings, you're giving up your weekends. He's like, you're not spending time with me. You're on the computer, you're writing these blog posts and you're doing these interviews and you're doing all these things, but you're not making any money. Why are you doing this? And it took a while for him to learn my concept and where my thought process was. And I probably didn't communicate it all that well because I was like, it's fine, I got it under control. But it was something where I had to commit to, I'm going to put in X number of months, years, time without making money. And for some people, that's not an easy commitment to make. Even if you have the job that's going to commit to paying your bills, you're still giving up this time. And if you're running your own life and you're single and no kids, you've got the time to do it. But if you're married,
It's like I'm looking at you. I'm like, I'm single in San Diego, and I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to go on a date tonight because I'm freaking tired. I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing.
right?
So it's like I watch you, and it's job, it's Jenn's Trends, it's your little one, and dance recitals, and school, and feeding, and all the things where I'm like,
But it's also
how do
evolved over
people
time,
do
right?
it?
Like I started this when I didn't have my daughter. My daughter's 7 now, and I started this 9.5 years ago. So when I started this, I didn't have the kid. That made obviously a difference. And then as the business grew, it started to, I don't want to say it runs on autopilot because it doesn't. And there's plenty of nights I'm up till 2 o'clock in the morning. There's plenty of nights, like I was writing a promo email the other night, people, and I was like, this is the last place I want to be sitting is at this desk writing this email, but I got to get this out. Like, so it's not always easy, but once you get the momentum, it starts to run and you start to be like, okay, I'm giving 2 hours this day. I'm giving 3 hours this day. I've often told people, I'm like, if you are a mom or, you know, a wife or whatever it is, set boundaries. And you say, okay, Saturday from, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. is mommy time. Mommy's going to be working on my business. That means no interruptions unless you're legit bleeding and need to go to the hospital. So, set a boundary, and then it's a little hard at first, but after a couple months, the kids, the spouse, the family start to realize, okay, that's mom's time. And you learn to be super productive in those 3 hours because those are your 3 hours to get a week's worth of stuff done for your side hustle. But then you can be like, okay, well, now I'm going to take 2 hours on a Wednesday night, or I'm going to do an hour after the kids go to bed on Tuesday, or whatever it is. You start building up those hours where it becomes part of your routine. And then as it starts to build that momentum, it gets easier. It's actually the hardest thing is just starting and getting it on track.
And you spoke to a good point here of, okay, Saturday morning, those 3 hours, and you just get a week's worth of work done. That's our human psychology, because it's going to take as much time as we give it. So setting those boundaries also makes you just more productive and just getting the thing done.
Yeah. And I think we also, especially, this is something I've had to learn, and I'm still learning it. And I'm 41 years old. I'm still learning these things. But you have to learn to give yourself grace, especially when you are running a business as a mom, as a spouse, whether you're, married, single, whatever it is. You have a lot of commitments, and it's I had a bunch of stuff come up in a personal circumstance last week, and I lost literally 2 whole days of the week. Just gone. I was committed to this other personal endeavor that I had to deal with, and it meant no work at the day job, no work on my business. I was tired. I was exhausted. But so yeah, things didn't get done.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I mean, I always make sure my client work is done. Like I said, a hierarchy, a priority list that says like, this has to be done. This is a due date. But you know what? If that email that should go out for a promo goes out next week instead of this week, not the end of the world. If that video that you want to record for YouTube didn't get done today and you do it tomorrow, no one's going to freak out because you're 24 hours behind on your YouTube video. Like, we put more pressure on ourselves than anybody else. And it's okay to have that grace and say, you know what? Tonight's going to be a Netflix night and I'm just not going to kill myself. That's okay.
I did that last Saturday, literally. Never left the couch and just binged watched.
Right?
Now, how can our busy moms make use of Instagram to make their life easier? I'm like, I love Instagram to connect with people and get out there and promo my stuff. But you are the Instagram queen. I'm literally just throwing spaghetti at the wall at this point and see what sticks, simply because I haven't had the time. No, actually, because there's a lot behind the scenes happening where it's cleaning up and me figuring out what I want to do. So I'm like, I don't need to pay that much attention yet, but my audience is paying more attention. So how can they start or get better in using Instagram to maybe even cut off some of that busy mom time and get some time back?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I love about Instagram, and it's not as true today as it was a couple years ago, but it's still true, is the community involvement that you get out of Instagram.
Yeah.
So find the mommy bloggers that have a similar lifestyle to you. Find the women in your industry that are out there on Instagram, whether they live in your city, your state, your country, whatever, and find those people that elevate you. I have a bunch of people that I follow. Some are mommy bloggers, some are, other professionals in the industry. And I am not like the rah-rah cheerleader, yay, motivation. Like, that's not me.
No, it's not.
It's not. I can't even try. Like, I literally can't even do it with my own kid. I'm like, you read a sentence. Good for you. I hired a tutor because the tutor's like, oh my God, you did it. And she is just a walking cheerleader. And I'm like, good on you, kid. You read a freaking sentence. Like, I'm not the cheerleader.
Jenn is overdoing it a little bit. She is a straight, plain, forward cheerleader. She's not going to be the one with pom-poms and dancing.
No,
but she will cheer you on too.
And that's where I find the right people on Instagram that talk and communicate in a similar way, that they post their makeup lists, faces with the kid in the strewn apart disastrous rooms, and they're like, it's okay, mom, we're all in this together. Like, so having those other people that, especially if you are running a side hustle, and if you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you're a single mom and you're trying to launch a business or trying to choose your second career in life, and you feel very isolated and you don't feel like there's people around you in your actual core who understand, all social media, but especially Instagram, because the type of community that it fosters, is a great way to connect with these people who get you, who see you, who you can see and be like, oh, like they're having a bad day, or, oh, they did that launch and it fell flat, but they're still going, they're still doing this. And so find those people who are open and honest and transparent and that communicate in the way that you do. If you need the rah-rah cheerleaders, go find the rah-rah cheerleaders. If you want the tell it like it is, sarcasm, go find the tell it like it is sarcasm. But find those people, because they will motivate you to keep going. Because when you're doing a side hustle, when you're starting a business, there are way more failures than there are successes. And it can be really hard to get through, but you need that community. And DM those people, reply to their stories, comment on their posts. They're going to reply, and you start to foster these relationships and these little DM chats with other people. And it's just a really good way to build yourself up and give yourself the confidence and the space mentally to say, I've got this, I can do this.
And I think what I like a lot about Instagram, and I send everybody to my Instagram stories that once behind the scenes, I can do the behind the scenes. I can be me. We took it a little bit raunchy here a couple of days ago in my
I saw,
Instagram
yeah, the
stories, and I
sultry
just
answers
had
only.
fun with it. For everybody that didn't see the story, what I did is it's like I had a little bit a hint picture of myself with a glass of bubbly, and I'm like, okay, let's have some fun. What am I up to today? And only sultry answers, and we had a blast with that. But that's what I do in my Instagram stories because they're gone in 24 hours. I get to
Yeah.
have fun in there and just do and engage and build the relationships that I used to build on other platforms. Now, I don't see TikTok going that way. Sorry, I don't. Somehow for me, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But I get to also have fun in reels on Instagram, where some of my reels are educational, some of them is the fun stuff. And then I have my regular content that I schedule out in my feed.
Yeah.
And it's like it's this
It's the
all
whole
in
aspect of your
one.
brand, of your business. And that's something that, a lot of people always ask. They're like, well, how much should be personal and how much should be,
How
business? And
much
I'm
do
like,
you want to?
that's the thing. I'm like, if you are your brand, like Evie, you are your brand.
Yeah.
I am my brand. So it's easier for me to be more personal because here's a photo of my kid. That's me. That's my brand. That's my life. Like that's easy. If you are a team or if you've got a group of people, it's a little bit harder to be as personal because there's other aspects. It's a larger group of people or organization or whatever. But if you are your brand, and most people starting out or doing a side hustle, you are your brand, whether you're in, real estate or education or, you're doing product for Etsy, whatever it is, you are your brand. There is no right or wrong answer. Like sometimes 90% of your content can be personal because that's what people connect with. They want to know you as a person. And then you put out a little bit of business. You might do 80% business and 20% personal. It is your choice. But absolutely use those stories, because like I said, they're gone in 24 hours. You can be much more relaxed. You can be much more casual. Bad audio, who cares? Bad lighting, who cares? It's going to be gone in 24 hours. But as a result, most brands, most organizations of any size get better conversions off their Instagram stories than any other content because of that.
Because
Because on
it's
the
real.
feed, exactly. Our feed is so polished and perfect and filtered and long captions of description and sales posts. And then your reels are just they're reels. They're out there. They're high level. They're not high converting. That's just not what reels do.
And then you got stories of, so I haven't taken a shower in 2 days because I've been deep in client work.
Right. And people are like, oh my God, I can totally relate. But then that starts to lead into the questions of, well, are you taking on more clients? Like that's where you start to build those threads of conversions is from the Instagram stories. Cause that's where we, metaphorically and literally let our hair down. It's where we tend to just be a bit more real with who we are. And that's what people connect with. Like the whole polished, photo shoot edited, perfectly curated feed is great, but that doesn't tell people who you are. And if they want to work with you, they want to know who you are. And that's where Instagram stories are so powerful and why, even though I don't love stories, I love stories for that reason.
And it's been fun. And like specifically with my sultry post, I'm like, I was just feeling it. I was one glass of bubbly in, I get all happy after my first glass. And I'm like, why not? Everybody knows I'm single. Everybody knows I'm in San Diego. Let's have some fun with it. And it triggered some conversations with some people that I hadn't talked to in months.
Yeah.
Where it's like a friend of mine just popped into, so what did you actually do that evening? And I'm like, what do you think I did? It's like, I'm single in San Diego. What do you think I did? You also talk about turning Instagram into a business tool, making it work for your business. You have not only a couple of freebies, but also membership. I want to talk for the freebies first. And guys, you all going to find those goodies in the description. It's all going to be linked there. I got everything ready for you. You are diving into some Reels content too and helping people with their Reels, aren't you?
I am, maybe begrudgingly so, but no, it's honestly, you can't like, and everyone knows, like, I don't even have TikTok on my phone, people. Like, I do not do TikTok. I do not do this type of content. I do not love Reels. I don't consume them. I don't love creating them, but I see their value.
Hey, girl, that is a huge time saver for you because I spent an hour last night sitting in the bathtub with a glass of bubbly, just scrolling Reels and TikTok. I swear I could save myself a lot of time. But I
Right?
agree, there's a lot of TikTok and Reel style out there right now where I'm like, I can't. My brain doesn't comprehend reading your reel while there is a different audio behind it. I
Right.
can't.
And that's a thing, right? Like there's so many different things that people can do with the short form
Yeah.
video when it comes to Reels. And I think that's where a lot of people, especially if they're starting out, are very overwhelmed. Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to be able to say like, okay, go to camera, click Reels, film. But when you start looking at the types of transitions and the music and the text boxes and the, what are you going to put in, whether it's a 15-second or a 90-second video and all these things, it can be very overwhelming. So I've in my membership program, we've done a lot of Reels training. We have another Reels training coming up this month in September. And I've created a couple freebies. So I have one, which is 12 Reels topics to get you started. So literally I'm giving you 12 topics. And the reason I chose 12 is because I'm like, we do one a month. That's a year's worth of content.
Ooh.
If you do one every week, that's, 4 a month, that's 3 months worth of content. So I picked 12 for a reason because it's going to give you a solid content strategy to be like, this month I'm doing this reel. This week I'm doing this reel. And you can literally go through and create one of every one of these that give you context of why you should A, be doing this type of reel, but B, gives you an example of what that looks like. And I have the screenshots in there so you can literally go to that account and go see their whole reel, get a feel for what that looks like. How are you going to recreate that? You can even then, if you really wanted to, take that and be like, use template, and you can recreate your own reel off of that template from this ebook. So it's really meant to give you a good starting point. And then the other ebook is 5 mistakes to avoid, because it's really easy to be like, great, let's just do a reel.
Oh God, yeah.
But there's some things that you should avoid for a variety of reasons, whether it's just, common kind of behavior on the platform, things that could impact you detrimentally as a business if you start doing certain types of things. If you're looking for certain types of goals and you're trying something that's totally unsupportive of that, then you're never going to feel like they work for you. So that's the other ebook is 5 mistakes to avoid, just to kind of help give you that starting point to be like, okay, I can do this. I've got the content, 12 pieces of content I can create, and here's the things to avoid doing so you can set yourself up for success.
Sounds like a perfect starting point right there. You also have your profit for profile where you support your membership on staying on track and getting shit done, don't you?
I do. And so I'm actually celebrating the 1-year anniversary.
It's been a year already?
It's been a year. I launched in September. It's been 1 year. Profit Your Profile is a year old. She made it.
Where the hell is time going?
Oh my God. I can't even. I was like,
no, I'm
today's September 1st. I'm like, what? I thought it was May.
It's like, who am I to talk? I'm like, I still remember the picture of you being highly pregnant in heels on the patio, and now Sabrina is 7 years old. So apparently my feeling for time has changed.
It really has.
So happy anniversary, Profit for Profile. What are you doing there? How do you support your membership?
So it's really, again, it's focused on Instagram, right? That's obviously the key focus. So this came up because I've been asked to do this for a while. And again, it was one of those things where I didn't really have the time and resources to build this out. And then through the pandemic, it was like, well, there's no better time than now to start
Everybody's sitting at home.
So we started a membership, but it's designed to give you, so we have 4 live sessions every month. So every week you have a live session. The first of every month, we dive into the biggest actually all the updates from Instagram. So every month I compile every single update. It's usually double digit. Last month, I haven't finished compiling August, but July, I think we had 14 updates. June, we had 22 updates. So there's a lot that like Instagram is testing and updating and tweaking that most people don't know about. So in the first Friday of every month, we break down all those updates and how they impact you. So we actually say like, okay, they're running this test. We're going to assume this is going to roll out. It's probably going to roll out in Q4, which means your Q1 strategy needs to be factored into this type of new content or new search criteria, whatever it is. So we really dive deep into what these updates mean for you as a business and a brand, not just, oh, they tested some things, yay, but we get super strategic. Then we have 2 live training sessions every month. One session is with me. All these are live, replays are available for everything. And then the second is always a guest expert. So I've brought in Rome Johnson from Microsoft. I've had celebrity chef. She won MasterChef, Claudia Sandoval.
Love her.
Love her. I
And the
recently
hair.
had
And the hair. Guys, if you have not seen Claudia Sandoval,
red.
look her up. That red.
Claudia Sandoval. And she's actually, and one of the reasons they had her come in is she actually was one of the co-organizers of the San Diego Igers, the original San Diego Instagram group. Way back when I started doing this 9.5 years ago, she was one that would put on the events here in San Diego for Instagrammers. So she's like legit deep into like the Instagram world, not just being, a celebrity chef. So she had a ton of great insights. We've had lawyers, we've had photographers, we've had my co-author on the Dummies books, people that have just come in as experts to help train not just Instagram, but business knowledge in general. And then I do an open office hours once a month. The last week of every month, we do open office hours, which is where you can come and ask me your questions, whatever you want to know, whatever your questions are about your Instagram account. We dive into all those round robin style. So you get all of that. And then you get like my free it's a free, but it's part of the membership, the Facebook group, where you can get in and ask your questions, where I share all the updates and all these sorts of things. So it's a ton of access to me. And you get a whole year for less than what you would pay for a 1-hour consultation with me. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But it is designed to...
It's access to the Jenn Herman.
It is access.
It's a no-brainer no matter what. Just saying.
And it's designed to really help people get, like I said, profit your profile. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to, profit. You can be a nonprofit and still be in the membership. But it's designed for you to actually grow your business on Instagram, not just to stay on top of the news and the trends, but to actually dive deep into the strategies that are going to help you grow. They're going to help you get the leads, help you close those sales, help you actually reach your target audience, go back to having fun on Instagram, like whatever it is that you want to achieve. This is what we focus on to help reach those goals tangibly in, reasonable timeframes.
And I love the combination of outside teachings of the whole nerdy numbers. How does it apply? And then also the business strategy that goes along with that. So guys, it's in the description. It's a freaking no-brainer because it's also cheap as fuck. I'm just saying. Thanks so much for coming by today, Jenn. We will be having Bubbly here pretty soon in person again, too.
Yes.
And again, audience out there, everything Jenn just mentioned, from the 5 Reels mistakes to avoid to the 12 Reels ideas, as well as the link to the Profit Your Profile membership. It will all be in the description. So go follow her because Jenn is the queen of Instagram. And Instagram is working.
It is working.
And it can be easy, and it can be simple, and it can drive your business. So go click those links, connect with Jenn, and I'll see you soon for more Bubbly.
Looking forward to it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.